Good morning, everyone. It's 11:59. I was waiting for the clock to change to say good afternoon, but I couldn't do it slow enough. Fast main track. Amazing firm turf course. That says a lot about the drainage here. We had some belly washes yesterday afternoon.
Yeah, we joked about it yesterday that we had to do our handicapping over again for maybe all races on the dirt, and we were wrong. Fast and firm, a nice way to start the day.
Yeah, beautiful way to start the day. And once again, $700,000 jackpot guarantee. Really nice 10-race card this afternoon. Chance to make some good money. And if you listen to Ashley yesterday, the early pick 5 came back $535, and she only put in a $521 ticket. No, I'm kidding. It was only $36. So great, congratulations.
Thank you. We're going to try to keep that going today. I had an extra bankroll, so I'm going to make my ticket a little bigger today for the early pick 5.
Well, let's check it out.
So looking at the ticket, I think looking at the sequence, and specifically, I thought race 3 and race 5 were the races to spread in the opener. I just used 2 horses in here. The number 4, Hillbilly, joining the barn of Saffy Joseph Jr., as well as the 5, Lord Darnley. Race 2 deep in here as well. I was between Yes It's Free and the number 5, Too Legit to Quit, the 9-5 morning line favorite. I mentioned race 3, a race to spread. 7.5 furlongs over the turf course. I used Starship Mishka, the Uncaptured Lady, as well as the 2 horses towards the outside, Brody's Honor and Uptown Queen. Race 4, 2 deep in here. I think Frou Frou Zan, the number 6, is the horse to beat off the debut. A pretty nice performance here on August 8th. But I also used the 1 directly to the outside, Second off the layoff, the 7, Starship Nugget. And then to wrap things up, I'll use the number 1, Express Pharaoh, as well as the number 10, Feeling Dangerous. But I thought the number 9 at 10-1 on the morning line, Captain Ziggy for Georgina Baxter, was interesting. Broke the maiden last time out. I didn't think he was going to get the job done, so I liked the price on him, $48. I said I had some extra money from yesterday.
Yeah, $48, still very affordable. And the 5th race, of course, is where that Rainbow 6 will start with the $700,000 jackpot guarantee. The 4 horse in here is, apparently that's my nickname in the office, Hillbilly, now in the Saffy Joseph Jr. barn, and that's your fault. This one free falls to this level, gets Lacey's. Really showed zilch against Tougher in Kentucky.
They're going to try a whole bunch of things today. Blinkers off. You mentioned first-time Lasix. First-time gelding dropping in for the 12-5 tag. Really didn't show anything, as you mentioned, in Kentucky, but this is some significant class relief. Seems to be training well at Palm Meadows as well, and just Saffy does well with horses joining his barn, but also horses off such a long layoff. He wins at 26%, 6 months and longer.
We had a horse that looked similar yesterday like this for Kathleen O'Connell. There's nothing there. The drop down, the horse won by 7 lengths or something like that. The number 2, Backchat, drops. It looks to make amends. He showed some brief interest, and he faded as the favorite against those 25 state-bred runners, going 7.5 last time for Ken Sweezy, Sammy Camacho. So this one drops right down. Didn't run that well. Sure, was favored last time out. Didn't really. I think the drop should help.
I think the drop should help. I'll be honest, I have reservations about this horse because you look at that race 3 back, he was favored in there and ran quite well. He finished second, beaten by a length and a quarter. I can give him an excuse first off the layoff in that race that was on the main track, but last time out, he just didn't look good at all in that race. He kind of lost some ground late. He only beat 1 runner, so I was a little hesitant on what to do with him. I used him just 1 spot lower than you.
We both have some interest in the number 5, Lord Darnley, who's stretching out to the mile in his 16th rally to finish 3rd against similar, going 7.5.
This is the one that I used as my second horse in that early pick 5. I know he's had 10 chances of breaking the maiden and yet to do so. Last time out was at 7.5 furlongs at the level. It was an interesting race. He was closer than he usually would be to the pace. I mentioned Captain Ziggy earlier today. He was the winner in that race. But you look at his races, maybe 3-4 starts back. I think he could get good. Can't even talk right now. Could get a good trip sitting off the pace and maybe making up some ground late.
Yeah, only 1 scratch so far in the race. The 10, Peter Aiello, will be up right after us and get you all the scratches you need to have a winning day here. Race number 2, a mile. He's a maiden claiming fillies, 3 and up, 12-5. No scratches in this particular race. And I'm going to start it off in here. We both did with the number 5, Too Legit to Quit. Let's go back and show you this horse. We're going to pick it up, turn for the home to the wire. When this horse, she's the 4 horse there, and she closes, 4 wide in that race, but she just couldn't reel in Cozy Cafe. But I wanted to show you it was a pretty good performance. And Cozy Cafe sitting up there at 8-5. And this horse just kept fighting on, and I think this spot is easier today.
It is easier. It's 3rd start off the layoff, and this was her getting back onto the dirt for the first time in a while, and I think she stamped herself as a filly that wants the dirt. Her best races have been over the surface, and she was game in here. I mean, she got beat by an 8-5 shot, but still a good performance.
Yeah, and on top of our tickets both, I went with the 2. I don't know who you have in second. Yes, it's free. Wheels back after recovery. You do too. From a slow start and a wide rally to finish second for Sol Matos, Jesus Rios. Thought this horse ran okay in that race.
Yeah, and it's 3 for 6 in the money here at Gulfstream Park over the main track. I thought it was a good performance. Was kind of far back early on towards the back of the pack, but got a good position about halfway through the race and just couldn't get to Lunar Blast in the end. To me, there was if I was going to go with another horse, this was the other horse to use in the top spot.
Yeah, you went with the 6 Blazing in Bayou, I think it is, in third. And a logical horse in there. I did go to the inside horse with Asprodidia, who departs from rail. Just comes from behind, maybe can grab a piece of the try.
Yeah, that horse is interesting. You know, my horse is coming off some turf races, getting back on the dirt, but the horse that you use, I believe, means white feet. That's my little lesson today. I looked that one up. Was 4th last time out at the level, exits the same race as Yes It's Free, and 2 starts back. I know it was well beaten in third, and who was in front of that one, too legit to quit, but maybe respectable for underneath.
What language?
That I don't remember, but I looked this up last time. I think it might be Latin.
Well, okay.
That sounds right.
I just thought maybe it was Greek or something like that. I wanted to know.
Greek or Latin, there you go.
Race 3 this afternoon, about 7 1/2 on the firm turf. Claiming fillies 3 or fillies and mares 4 and up. This non-winners of 2 in life, 20 down to 16. We do have some scratches in here already of 7, 8, and number 9. And the current favorite, I think the morning line favorite in here is the number 10, who I have on top. Will start there. Brody's on it now in the Jose D'Angelo barn. Keeps changing D'Angelo's, this horse, from one to the other. This one, sophomore, steps up, cuts back to 7 1/2. Drew clear to defeat those condition claimers, going a mile into 16. Thought it was a good performance. Edwin Gonzalez in the saddle today.
Horse has been really strong over the turf in those last 5 starts. Has not finished worse than 4th, and that was 2 back going a mile. But just kind of looking at the horses that he's faced, we saw a couple of them run yesterday. They had good performances. Likes it here at Gulfstream Park. Both wins have been here locally over the grass. And you mentioned the rider. That always catches my eye. Edwin Gonzalez, he's been riding quite strong.
Yeah, the number 1 I could understand having on top that Starship Miska, who was solid, really, defeating 2 lifetime claimers on the grass 2 starts back.
I think with her, she's interesting in the fact that she broke her maiden. The next time out, maybe the waters were too deep at the time, but next time out, she's able to pick up her 2nd lifetime win. And last time out, she was well defeated, but it was on the main track. So I kind of draw a line through that race. It was still a good performance, but this is a turf race. Got to look at those only.
And the number 2 horse, who we both have some interest in, the Uncaptured Lady, took a step in the right direction. She responded to that slight cutback in distance with that improved 3rd place finish at the $20,000 level. For Kathleen O'Connell, just having a great spring and summer. And as we mentioned, we're charter members of her fan club. Sammy Camacho atop this daughter of Uncaptured.
When she broke her maiden, it was at Tampa back in April. It was a pretty good performance from her, and she was kind of battling it out on the front end for a bit of that race, but drew clear in the end. Her 2 next races, not the best, but I liked that just staying at the $20,000 level one more time. She was able to finish 3rd. She was 18 to 1 that day.
This is the race that you went deep on your...
I used all 4 horses on the screen right now, which makes me feel good.
I know. I think they all have a shot, including that 11 horse Uptown Queen. So certainly a wide open affair. In these turf races, it's just all about the trip. Going to the 4th race, it's a 6 furlong sprint. These are maiden claiming optional claimers. Fillies, mares, 3-year-olds and up, but they could run for the optional claiming price of $40,000. And I agree with you wholeheartedly that the number 6, Frou Fruzan, who's a half-sister to multiple local stakes winner, well-defined, who was trained by Kathleen O'Connell. This one drops to the 40 level after dueling fleet and finished 2nd to her undefeated stablemate, Cosmore, in a 50 sprint at the distance. So Kathleen coming back looks tough for me in here. It looks tough in here, I should say.
Very tough. You mentioned Cosmore is the stablemate, came back to race next time out and beat her stablemate, who was heavily favored, American, of course, who I think was going in for 4 in a row. It was just her first time facing winners. So I think she was, a game second to a nice horse. She was able to beat Starship Nugget to her outside today by 3 lengths. I just think if she can step up just a little bit, she's in the winner's circle.
Yeah, I loved Well Defined as a racehorse, so certainly Frou Fruzan looks tough in there. But you mentioned Starship Nugget, who's looking to make amends after finishing a distant 3rd. Was the favorite that day behind the O'Connell tandem last time out for Steve Dwoskin. But Steve is pretty good, 2nd off the bench. He bats around 20% or thereabouts.
Yeah, 19%. You're close today. You almost got the number right. I mean, you look at her races, and even 2 back against state bred maiden special weight competition, she was 4th, beaten by 2 lengths. But the horses in front of her, Mackenzie's Girl, came back to graduate next time out. Kamarsh Taj, we said, is a pretty nice horse here, was a next out winner. and was third last time out. I think this one can improve, but my biggest concern with this 4-year-old filly, she always needs to find more, and she typically can't do that.
Well, I love the name on the number 4, Frost This. It's the daughter of Frost, debuting for Ken Sweezy, excuse me, with Lasix and Sammy Camacho. And I think you watch the tote, see if this horse has some interest. Kent is not known, for first-time starters, but I just like the breeding on this horse and certainly like the name.
Yeah, and Ken Sweezy and Sammy Camacho teamed up yesterday to win with Kahiko on the grass. The interesting thing with her that I wasn't sure what to do, it seems like in July, those were her sharper workouts. Right. She was really working strong. And then August, they've kind of eased up on her works. Maybe they're just keeping her in form. I wasn't sure what to do with her. I just used her underneath. Thought the barn has been doing well this meet.
And what about the 3, Allure d'Amour?
Well, this one they had high hopes for last year. Made 3 starts as a 2-year-old. The best finish was 4th, beaten by 5.5 in the Susan's Girl for $200,000. So still a maiden. She's raced in all the Florida Sire Stakes last year, but she's been off the long layoff now. So this is going to be kind of a test for her, just seeing if she's ready to fire at first asking. I don't think so. I think we need to wait and see, but she seems to be working well.
Yeah, I put a big question mark, as you can see, on my past performances for all the reasons you just mentioned. With that said, we'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll have my Rainbow 6 ticket. Welcome back to Gulfstream today, and now it is afternoon, so good afternoon, everyone. Ron here with Ashley, and the Rainbow 6 starts in race 5 today. $700,000 jackpot guarantee. The races came off the turf yesterday. You had a standout in one of those races. You had a 4-horse field, and I think it paid $1,000.
Yeah, I still think it paid really well, and we talked about it when we watched the replay. That was the best horse in the race, and he raced like he should have. He won easily. Yeah,
so I hope you got it. If not, you get a chance to get it today. Let's show you my ticket, $43.20. And I did go too deep in here. I think Express Farrow and Feeling Dangerous might be the logical two. Then I went to 3 deep in the 6th race. I got some interest in Lucky Leo in here. Tried the Florida Sire Stakes, didn't run that well. I think coming back, Hey Porter looks tough. So I went 3 deep in there. Race number 7, Fulmini looks pretty good with officiating. And then in race number 8, got some coverage, even though I think Dana Grace is going to be a big favorite in there. And then the Pembroke Park, which is one of our 2 stakes races today. I'm going back with Tiger Blood. That horse, I think, didn't have a good as trip as Harry's on the Loose had. And then they got some coverage in the last, even though everybody's going to be zeroing in on Force to Hope, who I believe is like 8-5 on the morning line or something like that.
Well, I like the way you start the ticket. I can still hit the early pick 5, and you can still be alive in the Rainbow 6. And then in race 9, I'm on the same page as you. I think Tiger Blood, he is my top pick. I think he didn't get the perfect trip last time out. And he's shown a lot. He's got a lot of courage and game, and his game in the stretch. So I used him on top as well.
And he's very versatile. He could win on turf and dirt. So he's a major player in that spot. Getting back to race number 5, I started it with Express Farrow. May have found the spot where he can certainly remedy the chalk burning status he has now when he departs from the rail after finishing second as the favorite at this level in distance. Last out for Victor Barboza Jr. Sammy Camacho in the saddle doesn't like to win.
Does not like to win. 10 starts here at Gulfstream Park. One win and 4 second-place finishes his last 2. He's failed as the favorite in finishing second, but honestly, he's been favored in his last 4 races. I think, to me, the big thing is last time out, he seemed to appreciate the mile and a 16th more than the 7.5. He's staying at that distance today. And for me, I do think, when you look at the rest of the field, this is his spot to notch that second win.
You know, the 10 horse who we have the same exact, Feeling Dangerous. There's another trying to notch the elusive second career victory. Returns after finishing an even third at this level in distance for Jose D'Angelo. Edwin Gonzalez returning on midshipman gelding. I just thought Feeling Dangerous. If Express Pharaoh can't get it done, Feeling Dangerous maybe is the logical one in here. After these two, who are both really not winning types, it's wide open.
It is wide open. The only thing I want to say about Feeling Dangerous is you look at his 3-year-old year, he was facing tougher competition in New York. They tried blinkers, they tried a bunch of things. When he got to the lower levels here and they put blinkers on him, he's really stepped up this year, especially in his last 3 races. He's wore blinkers, he hasn't missed the board. He's still kind of a hanger in my opinion. He doesn't get the job done. So I used him underneath. He's my second horse in the early pick 5, I should say. But after that, we went with different horses. I mean, you went to the 5, I go to the 9.
Yeah, 9 is Captain Ziggy and logical. And like I said, majority rules. The 5 is hoping to turn the tables on the top choice, Express Pharaoh, at least my top choice, 4th behind him. It's got to improve. So a pretty wide open affair. And, you know, a full field of 11 to start the Rainbow Six. So it's always a tough situation here. So if you got a single a little later on, maybe you go deeper in race number 5, try and get it done. I went too deep. If those two don't win it, I'm in trouble. Maybe my B ticket I'll take more. Let's go to the 6. This is a good race. 6 furlong allowance optional claimant for 2-year-olds. The optional tag is $75,000.
I'm giggling because we use the entire field between the two of us. It's a wide open race. They're 2-year-olds. You see some of these horses and what they've done so far when they broke their maidens. You went to the number 5, who I want to hear about because Lucky Leo was our first 2-year-old race winner this season, went to the front, had that inside draw, and was an easy winner.
Yeah, what I liked him, he boasted a couple of really solid 5 furlong workouts after following his, as you mentioned, his debut maiden victory. That was at 4.5 furlongs. Now he comes back. People had a lot of interest, and we did too, when he was going to run into Dr. Fager. And, he showed some speed, and he stopped in that race. But what I like, he's got a couple of really good 5 furlong works in preparation. I think maybe this spot. Now, this is my long shot today. So I'm hoping to get a bit of a price on here. And I can understand having, other horses on your ticket. You went with Roman Post. You can go with Hey Porter, who we're going to show you in just a minute, his last race. But I'm looking for a little bit of a price here. So that's my little bit of a guess today. I think this horse is going to come back and run better for Jenna Antonucci.
Your top horse is one that I don't have. My top horse you don't have anywhere. I went to the number 3, Roman Poet for Kathy Ritville. This one won on debut on the turf sprinting, and it was kind of highly talked about here at the racetrack. Was able to draw clear in there in that maiden special weight race. Was sold after that, transferred hands. Now in the barn at Kathy Ritville. Finished 3rd technically in the Tyro up at Monmouth Park. Was disqualified and placed 8th. The runner-up, I believe, is Carlos David Horse Trust Our Journey. Came back to win next time out. Now it's Kathy Ritville. I wanted to show a trainer stat here for Kathy and just looking at how she does turf to dirt, because this horse has not raced on the dirt yet in his career. In the past 2 years, she's won at 19% from a sample size of 21. She's been in the money 43% of the time with a $2.80 ROI. So I'm going to take a stab. The dirt's a bit of an unknown, but some of the works to me suggest that he should be able to handle it. Son of Carpe Diem that, they just bought and they maybe have high hopes for.
Well, now that I see that stat, I got to add that horse to my ticket, too. Number 6, Hey Porter, as I mentioned, we will show you this horse's last race. We're just going to pick it up from the 8th pole home. It's just wanted to show you how impressive he won. He draws clear to win rather impressively in here. He just seems to have found, switches leads, and he seems to just draw off in the stretch and get the job done. So just wanted to go back. He's stepping up to face winners for Jorge Delgado. Chantal is his go-to jock. So I think this horse is a major player.
Yeah, and I saw that Jorge Delgado has 2 in here. Chantel staying aboard, the one that she piloted in the debut. And the barn just does tremendous work all the way around, but 29% with 2-year-olds. I never realized that they were that good with their 2-year-olds. So it's interesting to see how this one will do facing winners for the first time out, but it looked pretty professional in the debut.
And number 2, Desert Ruler, is really interesting. This one is back locally. He wears blinkers. Shipped up to Ellis Park. Finished the duel and fade 5th. That was in that $124,000 juvenile for Dan Peter. They thought enough of this horse to take a trip to Ellis Park. Comes back down. just adds to the intrigue in this race.
Yeah, and I can't fault them for, trying to find another opportunity for this 2-year-old. That we both talked about kind of the maiden score when this horse won. It was a pretty nice performance, was game throughout, going to get that equipment changed today, and a new rider. Actually, the rider piloted him in that first start of his career and seems to be training well. And I mentioned the blinkers on. That's an angle that Daniel Pete is pretty good with, 15%.
Yeah, so, just like I said, one of the best betting races on the card, even though it's a compact field. Going to flip the page and go to race number 7 this afternoon. It's about 7.5 furlongs on the turf. And this is one of our stakes races today. This is the Bears Den, $75,000 for 3-year-olds. And Fulmini is on the inside, and I believe Fulmini is the morning line favorite. So interesting to see your late pick 4 ticket.
Yeah, definitely have Fulmini in here. Couldn't leave this one out, but I actually went 3 deep in here. I also used the number 3 officiating, who I know you have some interest in, as well as the number 7, El Socio, who was entered, I think, yesterday and scratched out of a race. Race 8, I just go 2 deep in here in this 1-mile dirt event. I went with the favorites, the 1, Chez Paris, but I really like the number 4, Dana Grace. It's my best bet on the card. Race 9, 3 deep in the 5 furlong overnight handicap that we have on the turf. I'll use Harry's on the loose, but we mentioned earlier, my top pick is the number 11, Tiger Blood. And depending how it comes down to tripping here, the number 5, Romario, he's run some really solid races in his last 2, so I used him as well. And then to wrap things up, I think we're on the same page. The horse to beat is the number 7, Foster Hope, but I also use the number 9, Just Like Mike, for Armando de la Cerda, who I think is going to like getting back on the main track.
Yeah, so, a very affordable $18 ticket in race number 7. I think the race does go through the 1, Fulmini, who's turning back slightly. So let's go, and we're going to go back and show you this horse's race. We're going to pick it up at the 3/16th pole home when holds off a pretty nice horse in my estimation. And we're going to pick it up as they get turned for home. And you'll see the number 2 horse, Fulmini, is running pretty good in this race and everything, but gets caught by Cartano, who comes back and doesn't get caught by Cartano.
Almost. It looks like he's going to get caught by Cartano.
Cartano, I should say, comes back and wins its next race.
Right.
The horse we both had interest in that day. That's what I was trying to say. It didn't come out that way. But it looked like he was going to get him in that race.
It certainly did. He was making up really a lot of ground late, but Fulmini still got the job done by a neck. And, kind of looking at the performance, I liked that he wasn't sent to the front. He typically likes to sit just off the pace, and I feel like in a race like this, going 7.5, that's kind of the perfect striking distance.
And you got Carlos David and Sammy Camacho. Carlos, as we mentioned ad nauseum, just having a great meet here. And Sammy Camacho, certainly a fantastic rider. But you're right, officiating 4th behind Fulmini, 2 starts back. We'll try and reverse that outcome today after closing stoutly to finish 3rd, beating the neck against those state-bred runners last time out for Safi, Edwin Gonzalez. This one, you cruise down its past performance. It's stakes place. It's a son of blame.
Well, he's 5 for 7 in the money this year, and I think you mentioned that most recent race. It was a good performance. He missed by a neck. It was a blanket finish, so I'm not going to take anything away. It was an 83 Beyer speed figure, but you mentioned going down. You see that sophomore turf at Tampa where he just missed by a nose behind Indy Lion. I believe went out to Del Mar for a little bit. He's been there every step of the way. His first race for the barn, maybe he needed a race, but I like the way he's going. Edgar Zayas, Sammy Joseph Jr. I don't need to say anything more.
Well, you went with Kathy Ritville again with the number 7, I believe, El Socio.
12.25 length dominant winner for that maiden score last time out in a race originally carted for the turf, moved to the main track, but go 2 starts back to that turf race. This one just missed by a nose in there behind Devil's Sky. That was here at Gulfstream Park on June 6th. I'm just wondering, second off the layoff, seems to be able to run on the dirt, or at least did last time out, but I like this horse getting back on the turf. He's got some really good races under his belt.
Yeah, and that was up at Monmouth, I believe, that last race when he ran. Exchange Day is where I went in 3rd. He was making the second start back from the layoff. You go look at this horse's last race. He went up, he set the pace, and he yielded late. So he was doing all the dirty work and finished 3rd behind aforementioned Fulmini and Cartano last time out. I think the proverbial screws are tightened this afternoon for Eddie Plessis Jr. and with Miguel Vasquez in the saddle.
And now it's second start off the layoff and second time going long on the turf. Prior to that, you see those 5 consecutive turf efforts, all at 5 furlongs last time out at the mile. So he looks to be a big part of the pace scenario. He probably will be a big price in here, but I think he's live to maybe hang around for the trifecta.
Yeah, you got to go with the speed every once in a while. You got to just do it.
The pace play, right?
The pace play. 8th race, 1 mile, claims fillies and mares, 3 and up, $6,250. And you're absolutely right. I know this is your best play on the card, and I can understand it with Dana Grace. This horse looks, after that good performance last time out, looks primed and ready.
Yeah, and was scratched last weekend out of a race, but you look at this horse prior to that, 6250 is the lowest tag she's been in for. She's been in for 12-5, 2 starts in a row. And that race 3 back, I know it's going 7 ace, and it was back in February. February, but she was second to a pretty nice horse by the name of Frida Fly, who's rallied off several wins this year and last year, and is a tough claiming a mare. So I think just looking at her second off the layoff and based on her most recent performance, she's the one to beat.
Don't like the name of this horse because of the situation yesterday, but the number 5, Rain, stretching out to the mile against. Had 2 previous races, ran okay at the mile in one of those. Got bumped at the half-mile pole, went 4th, going 3/4 last time out. I think she's part of the pace with a clean trip today.
Yeah, and I think part of the thing for her is stretching back out to a mile. Her last efforts have been at 6, 6.5, one of them over the slop, and I don't think that is her preferred distance. Now, I say the mile. She hasn't raced it that much either, just those 2 starts, but she does have that second. And something in common, if you want to point it out, 3 starts back when she was a well-defeated second. Who beat her? Nationalist. And when Dana Grace was well-defeated last time, Nationalist beat her. So it kind of tells you that mare and where she stands is better than this filly and the other mare we mentioned, but she's worth a shot.
The number 1, Chez Paris, is dropping to this level again after stepping up the competition, finishing 5th against those tougher, starter optional claimers last time out. Inconsistent 4-year-old can be a major player with her best performance. If she gets her best performance, she could win this race without a doubt.
But the big word is if. You mentioned inconsistent. She's basically inconsistent every other start for the most part. I mean, you look at her races late last year, she had a win, then she was 6th, another win, and so far this year in her last 3, she's beaten by 28 lengths, then she won in that $8,000 claimer, never won a race in 6 months. And then she was well defeated last time out. I don't know what to do with her. That's why I still used her in the late pick 4, because if she's up to her best, she could win it.
Yeah, and that's our cameraman Dennis's favorite angle. Run a good one, run a bad one. Run a good one, run a bad one. So let's see if he jumps in today. Race number 9 is our other feature race of the afternoon. 5 furlongs on the turf, 3 and up. It's the Pembroke Park, which is just a stone throw that way. Pembroke Park I'm talking about. And like you said, we both went with Tiger Blood and Harry's on the Loose. So let's go pick up their last race. We're going to pick it up from the top of the stretch home. And I just think that the Harry's on the Loose was the 7. And you see Tiger Blood is the 2. And I just thought that you could see Tiger Blood back there just trying to find a place to run where Harry's on the Loose gets through and just, comes on and goes. And you could see on the inside with the 2, just looking for that room, had to alter course. Looks like it's in a little bit tight quarters today. Gets through, and it's just game to finish second. So there's not that much difference. I just think that Tiger Blood had the worst trip compared to Harry's on the Loose, who got a perfect trip.
I completely agree, and I wanted to point out the race, too, as well. 2 starts back here on July 4th in that $100,000 turf sprint where he missed by a neck. He was trying to catch a horse that opened up on the field, Warrior's Pride, and was able to take them gate to wire. So this is a gritty horse. You don't win 19 career races from 57 if you don't have some heart, and I think it came down to trip, and I think he's the one to beat today.
Yeah, and he's just very versatile. He just got to carve out that trip. It's so hard with 5 furlongs. If you're not right there, in the stretch, it's hard to get it going. The number 5, Romero, I agree with you. This one certainly adds to the intrigue in this race. Took the overland route, went 3rd behind those 2 horses last time out. But the faster they go up front, I think the better it is for this horse.
Absolutely. We've seen that every time where he sits just off the pace and he's able to make a late run. He wants them to go fast. He wants a contested pace. 2 starts back, he got the win via the disqualification. He also sat closer to the pace in there, but I think what we saw last time out for him when he finished 3rd behind these 2 runners when we showed that replay, that's the Romario that we usually see. He's in that striking position. He's got a couple beat early on, and he usually sneaks up there.
Race number 10 this afternoon, 6 furlong claimers, 3-year-olds are 4 and up, non-winners of 2, 12-5. As we said, the number 7, Force to Hope, looks tough, stretching out to 3/4 of a mile today after using his speed to defeat this level of competition. Won it by 3 widening lengths. Was a pretty good performance for Oscar Gonzalez with MSCL Jaramillo. This is a 3-year-old gelded son of Frosted. That's why he's got those multiple wins in this race.
And Misael climbed aboard for the first time last time out and showed that speed out of the gate with this one, and it was goodbye from there. I mean, it was a big performance, a career best race in terms of a buyer speed figure. When he gets the lead or he's close to the lead, he typically wins. That's what we've seen in his last 2 wins. So for me, I think 6 furlongs, that should be fine, even though he's 0 for 4 at the distance, and he stood out in here.
Well, one is the horse we have on top, Force to Hope. The other horse I have in second is Current Hope, who's hoping to turn the tables on Force to Hope after Current Hope showed early speed and finish to finish 4th behind Force to Hope last time out.
They've tried some different things with him in the last 2. They've had him rating where you see when he's won, he's been forwardly placed. I'm curious to see what the tactics will be today, because this is just going to be a second start for his new connection. So maybe they'll switch things up today. You mentioned he finished 4th behind a couple of runners in here, but so far at Gulfstream Park, look at his record. He's 6 for 7 in the money.
The number 9, just like Mike, you have in second, was beaten in neck when second behind Current Hope and Forster Hope back in June. Now renews that rivalry. Failed to show much. Much went sprinting on the turf last out for Armando de la Cerda.
We can talk about the turf races. I will say this horse clearly doesn't want the turf. He debuted on it, and then they said, okay, in May, let's give him another shot. I can't fault them, but he missed by 22 lengths. He finished almost last in there. It was 11th. The last time out, they put him back on the turf. He doesn't want the grass. Now, if you key on his dirt races in June and April, there's no reason he can't win in here. He's been just right there. He missed by a neck behind Current Hope, who used a little elevated in here. I think the surface change is key for him.
Yeah, it looks like the horse is much better on the main track. So that's how we see the 10 races on this Sunday card. Now we're going to turn it over to the lightning round here. We've got a couple of replays we want to go back and show you. And how game was Sunshine City last time out. We're going to show you this horse winning the Miss Gracie. And as you pointed out, this was its third win. And last win was what? Last Sunday.
Yeah, less than a week apart. I mean, the thing with Sunshine City is when she's able to make the lead, she's ferocious. She can open up on the field, and she doesn't want to surrender. And we see this now 2 weeks in a row from her, and she was stepping up in class.
Stepping up into the stakes competition and actually was 6-5 in that race. This horse just was pounded, so the word was out. And then, of course, that I was rather impressed with was Little Vic, who really comes up big for Juancy Avila and Carlos Olivero, who's an old-time jockey here for many years at Calder, Gulfstream West, and, of course, here. This horse, very impressive.
Yeah, we missed this one completely, didn't we, Ron? We didn't use this horse in our top. We liked the 3 who was trying to make up ground late, but this horse won this one, hit the front as well. A very game performance, and pretty nice to see a first-time starter win like that.
Yeah, when we came on the air to do this race, we just saw all the money on Little Vic, and we went, uh-oh, because they were trying to sell. And that's the beauty of watching the board sometimes, especially when you're dealing with freshman runners. So certainly a good performance. And then Bill Mott, is a perennial great trainer here at the Gulfstream Park meet. He just had a fantastic weekend up at Saratoga, and he won the Flower Bowl, actually, with War Like Goddess, who was the winner of the Orchid Handicap here. And I just thought this horse was so impressive. And I'm sure we're going to see this horse running down here this winter.
I hope so. And now in the Orchid, she was a better price than she's been in her last couple wins. But a really nice performance from her. Julien Leparoux aboard. Excited to see what her future is. Probably the Breeders' Cup.
Yeah, Breeders' Cup. I think she was 2-5.
Yeah, she was a short price, that's for sure.
He talked to Bill Mott up in Saratoga, and he can't wait to get down here. He thinks that the Tapeta is going to be a good idea, and the turf course will be pristine for him. So maybe we'll get to see a horse like this coming back, getting a start of his 2022 campaign.
Yeah.
You got to write these days down. Boy, things go fast, don't they? Well, that's it. We went pretty fast. 20 minutes to post.
That was good.
It was good. Turn it over to my buddy Pete Ayel. Your buddy too.
And they're off. Second in the 2-path. Ground off first inside. Race. And a quarter of a mile to go, and he's 6 yards out. Last of the 12 as they roll into the backstretch.